Hey streamers, Krystal back here again today to talk to you about using StreamYard to include your community when you're recording your podcast. We're going to talk about a few different ways that you can do this with StreamYard, but I get asked all the time, how do you really engage with your listeners? How can I get them more involved in creating my content, getting them to participate, and giving me feedback on my podcast? Well, those are some of the things that we're going to cover today in today's video, so let's get right to it. So as we dive into the 3 different ways that you can include your community using StreamYard to record your podcast, I wanted to talk about why this is important. I think it's important because as podcasting has become even more popular, the question I often get asked is, how can I engage with my people? How do I know who's listening, what they want to hear more of, and if they actually enjoy what I'm putting out there? Well, I think creating a community around your podcast is the best way to do that. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is streaming your podcast into a private Facebook group. Then we're going to talk about using the unlisted YouTube feature to make something a little bit more exclusive for just your podcast listeners. And then the third thing we're going to talk about is the StreamYard feature that allows you to embed and share previous streams that you've already recorded. So we're going to go to the computer and I'm going to show you these 3 different options in real time. So the first option that we talked about was being able to stream to a private Facebook group. There are several reasons why I think building a Facebook group around your podcast can be really helpful, but one of the reasons is being able to share exclusive content with people that are just part of your Facebook group. So if you haven't already done this, make sure you go over to the Destinations tab in StreamYard and get connected to all the places where you would want to stream your podcast episodes. So I already have my Facebook group connected as a destination. So what I'll do is go back out to broadcast, click create a broadcast, and then I want to create a brand new one. Now, what I would recommend doing is scheduling this out ahead of time. I don't like doing this right before I'm gonna go live because it actually builds a little bit of anticipation and your community can get excited knowing, oh, like Krystal's gonna be recording a podcast episode on Thursday. I need to make sure that I'm tuning in to see what she's up to. So I'm gonna click new broadcast and then I'm just going to select streaming this in my private Facebook group. And I could put up here podcast interview and then I'll just put test on there. And then you could put the name of the podcast, you could put the person you're gonna interview, you could put the topic, however you wanna do this, totally up to you. And then you could put, this is where I'll put information about the podcast episode. Whatever you want to write in there, right? Whatever your heart desires, you can put in there. And then just let you know that, you have to have the permission to show people's names on the screen, like all the things, right? We know this as StreamYard users. If you're brand new to StreamYard, make sure you check out how the guidelines work with Facebook groups and everything, but just make sure that people click that button in the comments that says click here if you want your name to populate. And then you can take that off. If you have people that already know that, you can have that as something that doesn't populate whenever you schedule your stream. So I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna schedule this for later because like I said, I don't typically like to go live and then just have it show up. I want people to actually come. I want to be able to promote this to my audience and show them that, hey, this is where it's going to be. This is the date and the time. And I can actually send them the link to when the Facebook Live is going to happen. So I'm going to click schedule for later. You can upload a thumbnail if you want to have something specific, or you could just leave this blank, totally up to you. I'm going to say it's going to go live on Friday, December 3rd at 10 a.m. Sounds good, right? And then I could create this broadcast and then be able to share that with my audience and tell them, hey, this is where it's going to go down. We're having this incredible podcast interview. The next option that I wanted to talk about today is streaming to an unlisted YouTube URL. Now, I always offer this to people that tell me, well, I don't have an audience on Facebook, or I don't have a Facebook group. That's okay. We don't have any excuses here for why you can't stream to your podcast community, because you can absolutely do this with an unlisted YouTube URL. So what I'll do is very similar to going to creating a broadcast. Click on that, create new broadcast, and I would simply go to my YouTube channel. Now, this is where, very similar, this is my podcast interview test. I would uncheck the previous Facebook group. I just realized I still had that selected. I'm gonna uncheck it. Now I have my podcast interview test. This is where I'll put all the information, very similar, but instead of it being public, I'm gonna choose unlisted. Now, the reason why I do unlisted is because I don't want everybody on my YouTube channel to get notified whenever this goes live. I just want to select maybe a segment of my email list, or maybe just everyone on my email list, and it's not broadcast to everyone on YouTube, because I like the idea of just engaging with those people that are truly engaged with my podcast, and they would be really excited to hear the interview that I'm doing, or the topic that I'm talking about, or maybe just have this experience of having people show up live and say, hey, bring your questions because I'm going to answer them in today's video. That's always something really fun to do and to share with your community as well. So then, just like anything else, you could schedule it for later, which I always recommend. And you could upload a thumbnail image if you wanted it to be something special that people can see. Like if it's a Q&A, you could put on there Q&A session with Krystal, however you want that to happen. Then you select a start time or start date and the time that you want it to go live, and then you can click create broadcast. So that is how you would set up an unlisted YouTube for your live streams, and then you can go into whenever it's actually created and share that link with your audience and let them know, hey, this is where we're gonna go live. This is the link for you to join us, and they can join the chat that way. And then the third and final feature I wanted to talk about is a little more advanced, and that is you sharing the previous stream that you've already done for your podcast. So I'm gonna show you two ways that you can do this. The first is going to create a broadcast. I want to say create a podcast because that's like always what's on my brain. But you could use a pre-recorded video as you premiere it and stream it out. So I'm just gonna select that as something that I would want to do. I could come here, I could air it on my YouTube channel, and I had already previously selected a podcast that I've done, which is what is up here. I just went into my past broadcast. I went down to my Power Hour Crew interview. I chose that one, and then I could select start date, the time, do the title, description, and I could either list it as public or private, and I could stream that out as it was happening and actually interact with my people that are listening. I could also invite the guests that I had on my show and say, hey, come, like, let's do a chat with people that have listened to the show because it's aired. So that's one way to do it. But I want to show you another way that I think is really cool and I think super fun, especially for those of you that don't necessarily have a podcast only website, but you want to share a really cool page. I love that StreamYard has this available. So I'm going to go back out. I'm going to go to past broadcast, and I'm going to go down to this same Power Hour Crew interview that I did. And I'm gonna click the ellipses, and then I'm able to embed and share this. So if I click on here, I could see this share link right here. I could share that out and just take that link and share it to my email list. I could post it on social media if I wanted to. I could share it all the different ways that I engage with my audience. And then I could have a chat afterwards and say, hey, what'd you think about the actual video recording? However I wanted to do that. Or I could take this code and embed it on my WordPress website or whatever website you do have for your podcast. You could take it and share it there. You could have comments underneath where people can give you feedback on what they thought about the episode. But I think it's super cool that StreamYard has this feature available where you can have the ability to share the recordings that you've done for your podcast. But I hope you learned something in today's video all about including your community whenever you're recording your podcast, because I think it's really important that you engage with your listeners, find out what they love about your show, or get that real-time feedback on the next guest that you should invite or the next topics that you should talk about. Definitely engage with your audience wherever they are online and keep showing up week after week to encourage that sense of community. But that's all I have for you today. So if you found today's video helpful, make sure you hit the thumbs up and subscribe to StreamYard's channel. That way you can check out their new content they put out every single week and make sure that you keep streaming.